Hello, David Klecker here, creator of AutoHARP3. I'm going to talk about this main character sheet. There's a lot to cover, so this could take some time. What you see here is the last thing that we did with the new character sheet. I have Akira open. Let's start with the top and then work our way down left to right. So we have the picture, which we can change, and we can change this picture by going to Manage and clicking on this Browse button here. It'll open up a dialog box. You can go ahead and look for any image that you want, and you can go ahead and add that image to your character sheet. Also here we have the name of the character. Again, we can change that by just changing the name here. We can change this to whatever you want. As you can see, if I type in, like, just say a T, you'll see that it changes that information, so it changes that name. I have the race, I have the culture, and I have the profession, and I have the rank of that profession, which I interpret when you start your character sheet, I interpret that you are at level 0. We haven't leveled our character sheet yet. That's kind of the logic that I'm using. I haven't added a new level, so I'm at level 0. Now let's go ahead and start over here on this side where we have the Manage button. If I click on this Manage button, I have a lot of properties for my character that I can change. Example, again, the character name is here. I can also put in a player name. I can put in the name of the GM of my campaign. I can put in the name of the campaign if this is something that I'm creating. As a campaign, I'm creating a bunch of characters for my campaign. Here's the height in inches that has been calculated, but you can change that if necessary. Here's the pounds that has been calculated. You can go ahead and change that. Seems a little light, so you might want, if it's in pounds and he's, what, 63? It's possible that he's a very scrawny elf, but that seems like it might be on the light side. So we could change that to, say, like maybe 180. Maybe he's got some muscle to him or something. You can put in whatever you want for eyes. We can say that he's got blue eyes, blonde hair. Let's say that he's, well, if he's an elf, let's, increase his age to, say, like he's 120 or something like that. You can type in whatever you want for sex. When you're doing the character sheet, I have to force your hand on selecting the sex. It has to be male, female, or construct. That's because the database only has information for height and weight based on male, female, and construct. Once the character sheet has been created, as you can see, it gives you a height and a weight, and you can go ahead and make changes to that height and weight however you want. You can go ahead and also change the sex to whatever you want. It doesn't matter what you type in there. That is a text box, so there is no forcing of what that value is going to be. Fate points, I don't use that anywhere in the program, but you can go ahead and put fate points in here, and you can save it to your character sheet so you know how many fate points you have. But I don't have any program or application as a part of AutoHARP that helps you with using them. So hopefully they're just something that has been declared by your GM about how they will be used in your campaign. Same thing with experience. I don't use experience anywhere in the application. But if you have a GM that wants to keep track of experience points and he gives you experience points for your character, you can just go ahead and type those experience points in here. They will be saved. Development points is kind of a legacy property. I keep it in here because on the off chance that people are okay with the idea that I save development points at the end of a level and I put them here in this property, and then I will bring them back to the next level that the character creates. The book just says that you are to eat any development points that you haven't used, but this legacy property here can actually override that. Then we have recent events, background, personal notes, other notes. I will get to those for later when I start talking about what notes are on this tab right here. All right, we can click on this button to add a level, but we'll do that during another tutorial, and I already showed you about saving a character sheet. So you've got your character sheet up and running. So let's go ahead and start from the left and work our way across. You notice here that it says that no armor has been equipped. And then you're asking yourself, well, how do I go ahead and equip armor into my character sheet? Well, armor is an item. It is an item that I will add to my character, and it is an item that I will equip with my character. So I need to go to equipment, and I need to go to manage items, and I need to select the category for armor. There is full sets, and then there is partial. It doesn't matter which one you pick. The program will recognize either one. So I will pick the full sets. I will pick a rigid leather armor. I can change the category name if I want. That'll is just something that gets printed here. I can change the item name if I want. I can make it a little bit more descriptive if that's what I want. The cost is entirely up to you. I mean, it comes from the database, but the reason why I say that is because I can't afford this. I mean, it says it's 25 silver pieces. I only have 10. So how am I supposed to add this item to my character sheet? Well, I can add it by just clicking on add item, and that will override any sort of purchasing. You can purchase it, or you can simply add it. Let's just say that this is armor that has been given to you, so I haven't purchased it in any way. I can just simply add it to my character sheet. So I'm going to go ahead and with my with this armor, I'm going to look that it's got the right DB on it, and I'm going to go ahead and click on armor fitted. There is no special bonus that I would like to add to it, and the armor quality and armor material is not a part of the Harp Fantasy database. It's actually part of the martial law. So when we install martial law, these categories, these properties will be changeable. So let's go ahead and add item, and that will be added to my character sheet. And if I were to select a location for that, I'll just say that it's worn. Now I'm going to go back to main screen, and you're going to notice that it's still not up here. Well, again, what does it say? It says none equipped. So I need to go to equipment and notice that I haven't equipped it. I'm carrying it, but I'm not equipped it. Well, I'm wearing it, so that should probably be automatic that I have equipped it. If I'm wearing it, then it's equipped. It's on me and it's being worn, so I'm going to select equipped. But maybe I've got it taken off and I got it stored somewhere. Then I would say that it's equipped, but it's not equipped, but carried. So carried, but not equipped. I'm carrying it, I'm not wearing it. You'll notice that when I click on equipped, it does in fact update the armor section over here, and it does give me a DB of 32, and it will update all of this information here. Now the one thing that hasn't happened is I haven't given myself a shield. I'm a warrior mage, so I can probably just use a spell for a shield. But for the sake of this tutorial, to add a shield to your character, we do the exact same thing. Manage items, add an item, category shields, choose the shield that you want. I'll say normal. Again, I'm not going to purchase this. I'm just going to say it's been given to me. I'm going to look at the DB trained and DB untrained. That looks fine, but I'm going to say that this has automatically been trained. No special bonus. I'm going to go ahead and add that item as well. Again, I could have changed the category name. It would have given that change would have shown up here. I could have changed the name of the shield, and that would have shown up here as well. I'm going to say that this is equipped. It's on my, let's just say that it's in my right arm. And I'm actually going to equip this one as well. Go back to main screen, and we'll see that I now have a normal shield with a DB for my shield. And I have created my armor for my character sheet. I've got my DB. If your character has a chi defense, you're going to have to go into that skill and put ranks into that so that you have a bonus. This chi defense value here is directly connected to the skill. So if you have a bonus of that in chi defense, then you'll see it there. If it's a negative number, then this value just becomes 0. Special bonuses will come from you putting a special bonus in the armor item or the shield item, and they'll get added together. So remember, that special bonus is part of the item. The item itself has the special bonus. It's not a total special bonus that you just put in there for the armor. It's actually per item. So there might be a special bonus with 10 for armor and a special bonus of 5 for shield, which would give you a total special bonus of 15. All right, next we have manage attack. So in my section here, we have brawling. Brawling is very simple. It's your fists. So those are automatically set and equipped. But I should have ranks in this weapon group called bows, and I should have ranks in this weapon group called long blades. So why aren't they showing up? They're not showing up because I have no weapon associated with this weapon group. I need to associate a weapon, and again, I would need to add that weapon item to my character sheet. With this, though, there's a very quick way to do it. You can go ahead and just click on this button, upload attack information for melee weapon. If you click on it, it automatically shows or automatically fills in my category, automatically fills in my weapon group. All I have to do is pick the item that I want to add to my character, whatever weapon I want to add. Let's say longsword. Again, I can change the item name of longsword. I can change it to say my dad's sword or something like that. I can again cost a silver. I can't afford that, but I'm not worried about that. I'm just going to say that I'm just going to add it to my character sheet. Notice the attack size and the attack type can be changed. Maybe you have a special weapon that allows you to upgrade the attack size, whatever. Same thing with the fumble. You can also adjust that as well. Maybe you can make it a little bit lighter on weight. Whatever. You can change any of these properties, but I'm just going to go ahead and add this item right now. And there it is. There's my longsword. It is listed as 34, and you can see that that matches my total bonus. The reason why that is the same, because normally the rules say that I only get a full total bonus if it's my default. Well, once you upload a weapon group, an item, a weapon from a weapon group, that weapon is automatically made default. So if I go into manage attacks, we'll see that it's automatically made as a default weapon. I'm going to do the same thing with bows. Click on this. I'm going to select longbow. And I'm not going to change anything, just go ahead and add item, and now that longbow has been added. And again, that longbow is made default. Let's stick to this screen for just a second. As you can see, we can go ahead and expand this section, and we can see the class, group, name of the weapon, OB ranks, critical, type, attack size, fumbled, any special bonus, and any like range increments, which don't exist for this because this is not a missile type weapon. There's also special and notes that we can have in here. The way to add that information is to click on this button here, and we can go ahead and add in any sort of special things. Like, for example, this is a family heirloom. And notes, it is a touch lighter in feel. Whatever. I mean, that doesn't really affect how it attacks. It doesn't affect an OB or anything like that. But, you know, it puts that information there on the off chance that there's something special about... Of course, I did that in brawling, which doesn't make any sense, but that's fine. It just gives you the basic idea that I can put this information into a weapon, and I have that information available to me if I need any, like, special reminders that this weapon has this special feature to it and this special kind of notes to it. Other things that I can change as well when it comes to weapons. So notice that I can't change the class group or the weapon name itself. You shouldn't. This is all hard-coded because this is the weapon that has been selected. And even the OB, that's linked to the skill, as are the ranks. You can change its fumble. You can give it a special bonus of 5. You can change its critical damage or its critical size. If there's a missile associated to it, you can go ahead and make these changes as well, but this weapon is not a missile associated weapon. And we can add in a special notes just like I did, and I can even add a picture. And if I added that picture will actually show up right here if I were to add one. If this weapon is not default and you want to make it default, you just go ahead and click on make default, and that's exactly, and you'll get the default label right there. Beyond that, you can always add a weapon to inventory from here. It works fine. It'll basically add the weapon as an item to your character sheet. I just recommend, though, that it would be a little bit more, it makes a lot more sense for you to add it from either the skills and import it, or add it as an equipment and then import it into attacks. It just makes more sense to do it that way. Each time you add in ranks, or each time you add in ranks to a weapon group, and that weapon group has not been associated to a weapon, you will get an import here. But if you need to add like a second category to that, like a second weapon to the same weapon group, I would say, why don't you add the equipment first, and then I would say that can be linked over here. If you equip it, that can be linked over here on your attacks. Just equipping that item, it will show up on your attacks tab. All right, let's go to manage talents, and let's go ahead and show you what this looks like. These are all of the talents that are on my character sheet. And if I wanted to edit these talents, I can go ahead and do that. I can just edit only the description, so I can't really change the cost. There's no reason to, nor can I change the name of the talent. If I want to, I can add in a new talent by just selecting the talent that I want to add, change the description if I want to add it, and that talent gets added. If I want to delete a talent, I can go ahead and just click on delete, and that talent will disappear. Very simple. Other things that show up on this side are the profession abilities. So at each first level, I'm going to probably want to do this. In fact, what I can do is I can show this to you now as I'm here. So at first level, warrior mages gain a +10 bonus to any mystical arts. So how do I do that? How do I add a +10 bonus to the mystical art skill of my choice? Well, I'm going to go to View All Skills, and I'm going to go into the Mystical Arts category, which is hopefully comes up here soon. Right here, lots to load. And again, it says that I can add it to any skill and possibly any sub-skill. So I can pick any one of these. How do I add a special bonus to this? It's a +10. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add that +10 to my ruins. And I'm going to open this, I'm going to open up this skill by clicking on the pencil edit skill. I'm going to find either the other bonus, which is a special bonus, or a talent. This is not related to a talent, it's related to a profession. It's an other bonus. So I'm going to put a +10 in there. If it's a talent, then I would say, why don't you put it under the talent bonus? And that +10 shows up, where did I put it? I put it in ruins, so there's the +10. That adds the 10 to my total bonus. Going back to main screen, what else can I do? Well, a couple of things. With enhanced senses, it says that I gain a +10 to all my perception rolls. Well, perception is actually located right here, so I can just make the edit here. I can just click on that, and then this is a talent, so I'm going to add that 10 to the talent bonus. Quiet Stride says that I have a +25 to stalking. I have that again right here, stalking and hiding, so let's just go ahead and add that 25 to that skill. Night vision, that's just something that I'm going to have to remember. That's not a skill or anything like that. That just says that I can see 100 feet on a starlit night, and I can see up to 500 feet as if it were daylight and a full moon. What else is happening here on this View All Skills? Well, first of all, I have all of these skills that are listed. These all are skills with at least one rank. So any skill that has at least one rank is going to show up in this middle section. What do I have in this middle section? Well, I got the name of my skills. Even the sub-skills will show up here because we see Region Lore, Region Eastern Lands. That's a sub-skill of Region Lore. If I click on this pencil, I'm going to get a dialog box that shows me information about the ranks that are a part of this skill. So you'll see that I've got 5 types of ranks. I've got Profession, Adolescent ranks, Training Package, Purchased, and Other. The Profession and Adolescent ranks came when I was doing a new character sheet. Those steps for those Profession ranks and those steps for the Adolescent ranks. I added 2 ranks when I was doing the Profession, and I added 1 rank when they were doing armor. I don't think I was the one that added the rank to armor. I think that rank came in automatically with the culture. Training package and purchased happens when you do a new level. So if you add a training package, any ranks that go into a skill are going to show up with this training package badge on it, the training package or type on it. And purchase is going to be when you are at the step for doing skills and ranking up skills. Those are going to be entered as a purchase type. Other is a catch-all. It is anything else that is not Profession, Adolescence, Training, or Purchased. So for the most part, if you're going to be adding ranks that don't fit those 4, you're going to select Other. Now, how do I use this to add in ranks, or maybe even remove ranks? So I'm going to click Other. I'm going to come over here, click on the plus button. It's going to add 1 rank to Other, and it gives me a total of 4 ranks because that 1 + 1 + 2 is 4. And I can just keep adding ranks, and it will update that field, that rank type. I can also remove ranks. I got 1 rank in Adolescent skill. Well, I'm just going to get rid of it. So now that is at 0, but I can't remove any more than that. So this is how you can go ahead and add ranks manually to your character sheet and delete ranks manually from your character sheet if you want to. As you add or delete, your total skill bonus will be changed, so you'll get to see what your total skill bonus is after that change is made. What else? We got the total bonus for the skill. We got another pencil icon here that allows us to edit the skill. I just showed that to you. You can change the name, the cost. The cost is basically how many development points it costs you to rank it up. The talent bonus, the other bonus. So talent bonus, you would change that if the talent told you to. And another bonus, you would change that if, let's say, the GM or some other profession enhancement told you to. The stat 1 and stat 2 statistics that are a part of that skill. It's resolution type. It's special because it's armor, so you're not really rolling on armor. It just gets appended to your maneuver for moving in that armor that you're wearing. Frequently used is something that can appear when you're on View All Skills, where you can see all of the skills that you are going to be frequently used. It's a good way to just kind of find skills quickly. That's basically all it's used for. Lock skill, if you click on that, any changes that you make to the category when it comes to the cost of all of the skills and subskills in that category, it won't affect any subskill or skill that has lock cost set. That means that you are locking the cost of this particular skill to 2, and any change that's going to be made to the category will not make any changes to this cost here. Subskill only says that if this is a skill that has subskills with it, that you are only able to rank the subskills and not the skill itself. So that works great with the combat styles and martial arts styles. I can show that to you better when I do a view all skills. Description, you can change the description to whatever you want, and if you need to bring it back, the same description back from the database, you can click on reset, and that'll default the description back to what the database has. This light bulb will show you more information about your skill here, and you can use that just to kind of get a quick description. I'm going to do the dice later on. I want to go to view all skills now and show you a few things. So I told you about that subskill only property. So let's go to combat for a second. And you'll notice that these skills here, they don't have a pencil mark. That's because if I went into the edit feature here, it says that it's subskill only. If I were to deselect that and then click on edit skill, you'll notice that the pencil mark now comes back. That means that I can now edit the ranks for this particular skill. But that's not the feature that I want going into combat styles. I only want the subskills to be ranked and not the skill itself. All right, what else can we do here? I told you that we can show frequently used skills. So everything that is in yellow, these are frequently used skills. You can only have, I believe, up to 20. So pick the spells or pick the skills that have the most, that you're going to be using the most for your character sheet. So what else can we do? If you've got too many of these tabs open, you can always click collapse all, and that'll collapse all of them for you, and then you'll have the ability to see everything in one screen. I can search for certain spell or for certain skills, and that will highlight the ones that it'll highlight the skill in red. I can even put in, let's just say, like a D and an A, and it will highlight any and all skills that just start with D and A. In fact, I think if I do like an M, I'm going to get all spells that start with M, or all skills that start with M. Maybe there's not a whole heck of a lot that start with M, so let's do A instead. So there we go. Acting, acrobatics, those are all of the skills that start with A. All right, so other things that you can do here is you can add skills if you want to. So if you want to add a skill to artistic, you can go ahead and click on that, and then you type in all of the properties for that skill. You can go ahead and add in a sub-skill if you want. So you can go ahead and type in all of the properties for this sub-skill. For example, if you wanted to type in, let's say, method acting, and just give it a stat of intuition, presence, and all or nothing, and I'll put the description in later. You'll see that it's now a sub-skill, and I can show method acting in that as well. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of these highlights because it's a little in the way. I can delete skills at my leisure if I want to. If I don't like method acting, I'll just get rid of it. These skills are only added to your character sheet. They're not added to the database. So these skills are very specific to a character sheet, and they don't go into other character sheets that are open. They're specific only to that character sheet that you have added them to. You can, in fact, add in a category from clicking on this button here. That'll add in a category, which then allows you to add in skills, which will allow you to add in sub-skills. So you can add in a whole new category if you want when it comes to your character sheet. Okay, statistics. So we have all of these statistics listed here. Their value, bonus, racial, special, and total. I can edit any one, but I can only edit the stat value, the racial, and the special bonus. And the reason for that is that the stat bonus is linked directly to the stat value. So there's no reason for you to change the stat bonus. Just change the stat value, and that'll update the stat bonus for you. As you can see, if I update this to 91, my stat bonus gets changed. The total bonus is decided from the stat bonus, racial bonus, and special bonus. So there's no reason for you to update the total bonus. Just update your racial and special bonus, and that'll update the total bonus for you there. You can edit other fields. For example, my BMR is listed here, but let's say I want to edit the BMR and make it a 9 instead of an 8. So I can change this by just clicking on a 1 or clicking up and change it, and adds 1 to that BMR. And now you can see that my BMR is now 9, and all of the values here for my pace have been updated. I can change the initiative that's over here. I can go ahead and just click on this plus button and change it to 12. That changes that 9 to a 12. I can even change the armor penalty. As you can see, it's a -7. I can go ahead and just make that a 0, and that's reflected there. And also, there's my combat perception penalty. I haven't purchased the talent, but let's say that I did, and I change it to a -30. This now tells me what my combat perception is by simply clicking on Edit Other. What else? So let's talk about equipment quickly here. Equipment, I've already shown you a little bit about how this works by just adding in some of the weapons and armor. But for example, let's say that I want to add in weapons and I want to purchase things. I'm at a market and I want to buy things. So let's go to add item, and let's say that I'm at a market and I'm going to buy some clothes. So I'm going to buy a pair of boots. So I'm going to purchase that item by clicking on purchase. And as you see, the cost will be then removed from my money purse. I'm going to go ahead and purchase some gloves. And then I'm going to go ahead and purchase some, let's purchase a shirt, why not? And let's purchase that. So it's taking money off of my money purse. Now, let's say that you gained some gems or you gained some money in your campaign, so you can always go ahead and just add in that money. Let's say you struck gold, and so you have 5 gold that you can add to your character sheet. So I type in 5, and that gets added to my character sheet up here. So now I have 58.5 total in silver. All money is measured in silver. So I have 5 gold, 8 silver, and 5 copper, but that's going to be shown as 58.5 silver, as all prices are also listed as silver. One other thing is that I can go ahead and create or add an item that has the ability to store things. So for example, a backpack has the ability to store items, and I can go ahead and click on Can Store Items and give that a capacity of 20 pounds. This will only be able to store items when I click on Can Store Items and I give it a capacity. So I'm going to go ahead and purchase that. Now with backpack, because it can store things, I can store things in the backpack. So for example, boots, I can put that in the backpack. Gloves, I can put that in the backpack. And shirt, I can put that in the backpack. Backpack's going to go on my back. And my longsword, I'm going to say that that is equipped in my left hand. And my longbow will say that that is on the torso on the back. I've got that carried on the back, so that's not equipped. Now what happens with the backpack and all the stuff that's in it if I say I'm no longer carrying it? Well, if I to say that I'm not carrying the backpack anymore, that will in fact turn off all of the other things that are within that backpack. And if I carry the backpack again, it will include all of the things that have been stored in the backpack. So that allows you to quickly, take something off, and it gives you in real time what your total, encumbrance is. How much are you carrying? Like for example, I'm carrying 54 pounds right now, but if I take my backpack off, I'm now carrying 46.5, and that might have a difference on my encumbrance. It really didn't, but it could be something that it could make a difference. Maybe I'll drop my longbow, so I'm not carrying that. So that now actually allows me to have no encumbrance. So I drop my longbow, I drop my backpack, so now I can fight a little bit better. So I'm going to go ahead and include all of this stuff again. Let's go back to main screen. As you can see with equipment, all of this information is stored here. I can search for any item if I want to, and I can go ahead and edit any of this information if I want to as well. Something that's worth looking at with longsword, there is a possibility that you might want to set a certain feature to it, like it's a magic item or a holy item or even a slaying item. And if it's a slaying item, you can go ahead and add what you are able to slay, like an orc, and that will show up that you can slay orcs. So that just gives you a basic idea of what this item can do. Magic. With magic, I do have spells as a part of my character sheet, but they are not listed here. If I were to go into View All Skills, and I were to go into the spell casting skill, that's under Mystical Arts, and I were to just find a spell and rank it. So let me just go ahead and randomly rank in Blade Turn. Let me just put some ranks in there. And let me put that 7. And let me go ahead and also put in some ranks for deflections. Okay, now I'm going to go back to main screen, and you're going to see now when I click on magic that those spells appear. And so these are the spells that you are now able to cast because you have placed ranks in them. I have 7 total ranks. It only takes me 6 to cast, so I should be able to cast Blade Turn. I only have 6 ranks in deflections, but it takes 7 to cast, so I do need to add an extra rank in there before I can actually cast it. I can edit any of these spells, so I can click on the edit button. I can edit the name of the spell. It's not going to change the database name itself. This is just for display purposes only. It'll display a different name. PowerPoints, you can change the number of PowerPoints, I suppose, down to 6 if you wanted to. But some of these properties, it might not be worth changing. Duration, if you think there's a duration that you would like to add to it, you can go ahead and do that. Any sort of different different range, if there's a different base. So these things start at a base number, so range at the very beginning, if you cast it without scaling, is only going to go 100 feet. But if I were to increase it with scaling, then that would increase it by 50 feet from that base. So if there's a new base that you're going to add to the spell, instead of it starting at 100, maybe you say it starts at 150. That's entirely, again, up to you. Same thing with resistance. Is there a resistance roll when it comes to this spell? Is there... There would be a bonus that would be added or subtracted to whatever resistance bonus you get when you cast. What's the spell type? There are only 3, attack, elemental, and utility. How many ranks do you have in it now? And the description. A couple of other things worth noting. You can actually add spells that are not a part of your character sheet, and you can add them to your character sheet if you want to. To do that, you can go to Add Spell. You can pick the sphere, let's say Harper, and let's pick the spell Sleep. I'm going to add this spell to my character sheet. You'll notice I have no ranks in it. I am able to see it here, and if I go back to my main screen and I go to View All Skills for just a second, and I go into Mystical Arts, and I go into Spellcasting, you will see that that spell is now added to my character sheet, and I can now rank it. So I can now have that ability to rank that spell on any new level. A couple of other things, I can expand these spells, and I can see the information that is here. I can go ahead and expand the scaling options and see all the information for the scaling option for each spell. I can go ahead and even add in a scaling option if the GM thinks that there's another scaling option that you would like to add. Give him the idea or give her the idea. Excuse me, you can go ahead and add that scaling option. You can again adjust any properties for the spell by just clicking on the edit button there. One other thing that you can do is you could add in an entire sphere of spells. There is a talent that allows you to add in a whole sphere of spells. And you will do that basically by just selecting the spell or the sphere here and then add sphere, and that will add all of them to your character sheet. What else can we do? Now notice that this is the only skill or spell that I can delete, because again, I added this manually to my character sheet. This is not something that's part of my sphere of spells like Warrior Mage. I can't really delete any of those. Those are free. Why would I do that? So if you made a mistake by adding this spell to your character sheet, you can always delete the spell. Another thing that we can do here is we can add in any casting penalties. Right now there's a 4 to my casting penalty. That's probably due to my armor, but I can change that by just, putting in a -4 and just changing it to, I don't have a casting penalty anymore. It's up to you. You can add in PowerPoint adders, or you can add in spell adders here. These really don't do too much to the program. You just have to remember that they're there and then add in the effects later when you are casting under combat. Okay, last thing to talk about is notes. The notes are the background, other notes, personal goals, and recent events. And if you go to manage, you'll notice that those show up here. So for example, recent events. Lost a lot of money at craps. Owes 100 gold to the character Felipe, who is also the tavern owner. Get a little kind of Western on this. So I'm going to go ahead and close, and you'll see that that has not been added to recent events. You can do the same thing for background. You can do the same thing for other notes. You can do the same thing for personal goals. This gives you a basic idea of things that you can remember that are happening as the campaign goes on, and this can probably get pretty big as your character is evolving through the campaign. The last thing is the dice roller. The dice roller is a fairly new feature. You can roll per skill by just clicking on the skill. Like I want to roll for Herbcraft, so I'll just click on this dice roller there. And as you can see, it gives me the result of that roll. If it's in yellow, that basically means that I have partialed that. And you can always, sometimes a GM will say, well, if you partialed it, then why don't you go ahead and roll again, and you get a plus 10 roll. So go ahead and roll again for Herbcraft, you get a plus 10, and let's see if you pass it. I still partialed it, so it's up to the GM on whether or not that they want to give it to you. You seem to have, it seems to be 90% there. So maybe if it's an all or nothing, it's kind of up to the GM. I mean, I said Herbcraft, right? Its resolution is an all or nothing, so unfortunately the GM has no choice but to say that you have failed. A couple of things that show up here. So the color coding, if it's yellow, that means you partialed it. If it's green, that means you have succeeded. So for example, let's see if I can find a spell or a skill that is big, like stalking and hiding. If I can roll on that one and get a, let me just put this at 25, and maybe I can get a success. So yeah, green would mean that I succeeded. Black means that you failed it. It's nothing happens. It's not a fumble. But there is a possibility that you can fumble, and if you do get a fumble, well, that's going to show up in red. And if you want to, you can always resolve that by just clicking the Open Fumble modal, and you can select the fumble table that relates to that skill. You can go ahead and roll on that, and this gives you the fumble roll results for that. So this is to help you just kind of roll quickly for certain things that the GM might have you roll for. You can use this program. You can roll the dice yourself and do it on your own. Either way, this is a good way to kind of get quick results if the GM is asking you to roll for a specific skill. And the skills that you have ranked are going to show up right here in main skills. So it does help. It does make things like go really fast. You can roll any set of dice. So let's say I want to roll 1d4, 1d6, and a 1d12. And if I went ahead and rolled that, you'll see that all three are separated. I don't combine them, so you can use them however you want. You can always change the modifier for the skill. So you can say that it's an absurd or easy or extremely hard. This appears to be in order of alpha order, not in order of magnitude. So the order of magnitude would be like absurd would be the last one, sheer folly would be the second to last, the easiest one would be routine, and then I think it goes easy, light, medium. So they're in alpha order, not in levels of magnitude of difficulty order. If you are wanting to just click a quick straight 1D100, you can go ahead and click these two, and it'll show up there with no, it's not really attached to any sort of skill, so it's blank, but you can still get some modifier information for it. And if you're done, you want to clear the dice, just go ahead and click on Clear Dice, and that takes care of the information that's here. And you can go ahead and clear this as well, and that erases those dice. Again, as I said, there is a lot here, and hopefully I covered most of it. If there is anything that I may have missed, anything that you need me to cover more of, please put that comment down below, and I can always try to recut this video so that I can include that information. All right, thanks again for purchasing AutoHARP 3, and happy gaming.